We're on?
We are on. We're on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 167 of Let's Talk Koi. I'm Shawn the Koi Guy. We're here at Koi Market, 539 Deer Park Avenue, Dix Hills, New York. What a weekend we had. July 4th was yesterday, so happy 4th of July. It was, I don't know what to say about the amount of fireworks that went off last night, but we are talking, it was like the War of 1812 in my neighborhood. The fireworks were going off it felt like I don't think they finished going off until about 11:30. My wife tried to go to sleep at 9:30 and she could not fall asleep. And she said, I mean, the house was literally, it was rumbling. It was unbelievable how much fireworks were going on in my neighborhood. How many was your neighborhood crazy? Did you hear?
Non-stop.
Right, and you were thinking like, no one's going to do anything by me.
Right overhead, directly
Like
overhead.
my house, like every window in my house was just lighting up all over the place all night long. Were you guys having the same thing over there? Because that's what it was like for us. It was mayhem. It really was all in my neighborhood. It was crazy. It was crazy. If you've seen any movies, old movies, like where there's just explosions everywhere, this is what it was like. And I mean, clearly, just everyone was feeling their independence, and they had a great time. And you know, we had a nice, quiet barbecue. Just had the kids there. With my daughter Bailey, who's in Massachusetts, she couldn't be there, but the boys were there, so that was really nice. And my mom and my in-laws, Bob and Lois, were there, and it was such a nice day. We don't actually get to use the barbecue as much as I'd like, but it was really nice. My son Travis, who used to be a chef, cooked an amazing barbecue. Robin picked up some unbelievable skirt steak, and it was just, you know, it was great. I hope you guys all had an amazing 4th of July. And it just, you know what? I like that it was on a Friday. I think it was great that it was on a Friday because, you know, you got that, so it was, you know, you got this 3-day weekends. Nicer being on a Friday or a Monday. If it's on, you kind of get gypped. It's like having Christmas, like the birthday is on Christmas. Yeah, you kind of lose out on that. So yeah, so that was nice. Is anyone on?
Yeah, we got 6 people.
Good morning, guys. How's everyone? Who do we have on?
It's not telling me. They need to, if they chat in, I can see.
Oh, okay. Well, if you guys want to say good morning, say hi, please do. Welcome to the show. If you've never been on the show before, this time of the year, the show is much slower. It's usually much bigger. We get, you know, anywhere from 50 to 80 people on the show at one time. Everyone's talking about their ponds, asking questions, and this is an opportunity, and it's a forum for you to ask questions about fish, about health, about filtration, anything to do with your pond. We're here to help. If we don't know the answer, we'll tell you we don't know the answer. But if we do know the answer, we'll gladly give that answer. We're here to help. We love talking about Koi Market and everything that's happening here. And what is happening here? Big C, we got some big stuff going on here.
Real fast. Good morning. Mike Spray says good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you today?
And Edward B says we all need to slow down occasionally and enjoy it.
Hi, Edward. You know what? It's true. Slowing down. You know, we've literally been going full gear since March. You know, I hadn't really taken a day off. I went to Greenport for a weekend with Robin, but that was the only time we had taken off. So it was nice to be able to take off yesterday. I may not be here tomorrow. You know, we have 2 guys here, and this is, you know, things slow down a little bit. This is kind of like this is a family weekend, so we usually it doesn't get too crazy here for the 4th of July weekend. So you know, we want you guys to go home, spend time with your families, and like, this is the time to do it. You know, the kids are, I guess they're finished with school now and they're starting to go to camp soon. So this is the time to take some vacations, take some family vacations, and just spend time with family, and, you know, kind of remember what you're doing all this for, which, you know, is important.
Brian Malone says good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you? We do have some big things going on. We have an awesome Tosai and Nisai auction coming up on July 9th, Wednesday. So it's Wednesday evening, 6:45 p.m. EST, so Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. We will be doing another auction. Pretty excited about this. The last auction was phenomenal, so we're looking forward to doing this one. Kind of like doing the evening auctions. It's worked out really nicely. This new format that we're doing works out very nicely, and we're excited to do it. We just launched, it's funny, we launched a new website a couple of months ago, and I'm not going to name names, but the developer did a horrible job. It's so bad that we had to actually redo the website with another company. I don't even want to talk about it, but I am talking about it. So we just launched kind of like the first edition of the new website. There's still a tremendous amount of work that has to be done, but it's now up and running, so we can now move to the next stage. Pretty excited about that. Thank you, guys.
They got some nice fish.
We got some really cool fish.
They got some really nice
Oh, no, they did. Yeah, they bought some very nice fish. But so this Tosai Nisai event, you guys have been asking for Budo Goromo. Well, this is an auction event that features Budo Goromo Tosai from Marushan. Very excited about this. You guys have been asking about these. We've been growing them out for you. We're super excited. We have around 10 of these. Marushan is a koi farm, so Marushan is one of the best Budo Goromo breeders in the world. They're very well known, and I was very lucky to get these fish, and we've been growing them out specifically for these auctions, and we're excited to do it. So these are, I have quite a few. I literally have, I don't know, I have about 200 that we've been growing out. I picked 10 for this first auction, and then we'll do more and more as the months pass by. We have some really nice Aoki Tosai. We have Nisai from Aoki, Ikarashi, Maruse. So I'm looking forward to this event. You know, if you guys did the last one on Wednesday, we did it on a Wednesday evening as well. Again, this one is on July 9th at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on my channel, which is on Facebook, which is Shawn Coin Market Rosen. You can find us on the Coin Market Aquatic Nursery channel on Facebook as well. You can also find us on YouTube. We'll be streaming on all those platforms. Any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We won't be doing any fish today. I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about you know, what's been happening here, and I wanted to talk about filtration and nitrification cycle with you, because that's something that this week, yeah, I've spent a lot of time at the store, and it's really come up a lot, where customers at this time of year are seeing nitrite issues, are seeing ammonia issues. So I want to talk about that and what to do about it. First, let's take a quick peek. You can see how some of the stuff is doing. Like I planted some stuff here. I'm going to grab the camera and I'll put my water down. Everything is just looking amazing. I had planted some gorgeous, I love these flowers. I forgot what type of flowers these are, but they just look so awesome, and the flowers last a long time. And I was messing around with a couple things. You can see the small pond is really coming into bloom. One of the lotus blooms, sadly, it only bloomed for like, I don't know, 2 days. By the end of the second day, like the leaves were already like falling off and in the pond. But you can see another one, another flower is coming up right to the left of that. But well, you know what I love about all these flowers here is it brings all these amazing creatures. We have tons and tons of dragonflies and bees. Look at all these bees hard at work pollinating. How awesome. Look at all those bees there. They're just having the time of their lives right now on these flowers. And you can see tons of dragonflies everywhere. I love seeing the dragonflies, but the tropical lilies are coming up. The hardy lilies are coming up. And take a look at how much the hyacinth took off in this water feature. And they just went crazy in there. I definitely need to clean that out. It's doing an amazing job of filtering the water. It really is. And you can see all the colors of all the rocks in here. I mean, the hyacinths really do a great job. And then, although it's a bit of a pain in the butt to clean the filter pads in the waterfall, because I planted all of that mint in there, because mint is pretty evasive, but it also works amazing for filtration. And you can see how overgrown it is. So I used the tray that comes with the biofalls to plant all those plants in there. I did that, I don't know, a month or so ago, and they really took off. Good morning, John. But everything is really looking amazing. Let's go. Oh, there's two dragonflies chasing each other. I'm going to take the camera over here. So here's the difference between, all right, you can see how well the plants are growing in here versus the plants in here. Now the plants in here, although they're growing, the plants in, and this is a pondless. So there's no fish in here. So they're not creating any nutrient food source to really have the plants thrive. So the plants are staying alive. I threw those two lotus bowls in there just so I could continually feed the hyacinth. But some of the plants they're doing okay. They're not doing phenomenal. They're surviving, they're not thriving. That would be the best way to describe it. Hi, Jody. How's it going? But because you don't have that nutrient food source from the fish, those plants are never going to take off like they would in a pond. So heading on over to the pond. Pond seems a little murky. It was actually crystal clear yesterday or the day before. Now I came back today and it's not crystal clear, which I don't know why. But it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe the fish were digging in one of the plants. I'm not actually sure. But things are starting to take off. The elephant ear are starting to take off. Look at the pennywort on the waterfall. The pennywort on the waterfall are just, compared to the ones I just showed you. So, all right, so here's a great example, guys. So right over here, I planted this pennywort right there. You can see that. They came from the exact same place, same exact size as the ones over here. So take a look at how much the nutrient food source from the pond has been feeding these plants. You can see how huge they are. So what a difference, right? That's crazy. Again, I don't know why. I mean, interestingly, you can see the hyacinths over here are not taking off like they were over in the other ponds. We'll see what happens. Don't, again, know why the water's so murky. We'll have to take a look at that and see what's going on. But things are looking great. Everything just looks phenomenal. I think I need to get some water in there, and that could be it. Could be pulling some water from the bottom of the basin. But you can see all the flowers are taking off here too. So you can see all the nice water features we have. Finally got signs up on everything. I think that pump needs to be cleaned. Here you can see all the black-eyed Susies are coming up here. Look, how awesome does that look? So beautiful. And you can see the flowers. These flowers I planted last year. So those came back this year, which I love the fact that they came back. All these plants we planted last year, these sedums, all came back. So very cool. I'm going to hand this back to Chad because Chad is the official camera guy. And we're going to go inside in the air conditioning and we're going to talk filtration. We're going to talk the nitrification cycle. I mean, look at the flowers here. Check out how gorgeous this flower is. You know the difference between the tropicals, the tropical and the hardy flowers. You don't really see, I mean, there are some purple flowers in the hardy family, and you're seeing more of that stuff lately. But on this plant alone, I can see here's one flower, two flowers. Here's another one coming up right here. Here's another one that was up. You can see this one may or may not open again. So here you have 4 flowers on one plant versus the hardies that usually do like 1 flower at a time, and they're very few and far between compared to the tropicals. So what I usually do is I will plant I'll do a couple of hardies and I'll throw in a tropical lily with that, just so you're gonna get the colors that you wouldn't get otherwise, and you get a lot more flowers that way. It's nice you don't want to do all tropicals because, quite honestly, they're all gonna die, and then you're gonna have to replace all of them. I actually see some more flowers. I see another one at the bottom of this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers on this tropical. So this is what I'm talking about with the tropicals. Like, you just get so many more flowers with these. They're beautiful. I don't know if they smell though. They do. They smell very fragrant. Very cool. And the options on colors on the tropicals is just so much more. All right, so we're gonna take a walk inside. Mike, can you throw a hose in the basin in the big pond? It's definitely no, the front sphere, one of them just stopped working. There's a hose. The hose is up top now. Oh, okay, perfect. All right, hey, there I am. Okay, let me just pop over here. So I'm coming here or going here?
Where you are first.
All right. So I am coming in here.
I'm going to set the camera, so sorry if anyone gets seasick.
Okay.
All right, you're good.
Hi, guys. All right. How many guys we have on?
17.
17 on. Good morning, everyone. If you guys have any questions, how do I see? Am I able to see that stuff here? Are you able to get? Or you'd have to.
Work on that. Well,
you probably have to have Restream going.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about filtration, the nitrification cycle, what's going on. So at this point, guys, you should not be seeing ammonia. You should not be seeing nitrite issues, but we are seeing that. And what is the reason for that? Good question you ask, which I'm asking for you. A lot of that reason there's multiple reasons why. Okay. One, you could be feeding too much. And this is the time when it gets warmer out and everyone starts feeding. Oh, my fish are eating, they're eating. Well, yes, they're going to eat way more food. But the question is, should you be feeding more food just because? Just kind of like in the Jurassic Park movie, just because you could doesn't mean you should. When in reference to making a velociraptor. So in this case, yeah, you're making a velociraptor koi.
I'm hesitant to log in here because I'm afraid we'll get kicked off that.
Okay, so don't bother. So you're creating a dangerous scenario if you're feeding more food than your pond can handle. And this is probably the #1 reason you're seeing ammonia spikes, is because you're feeding too much, and your pond simply can't handle the waste. The best way to describe this is calories in, calories out. So I eat too many calories. This is what happens. You eat too many calories, you get like this. If you eat the right amount of calories, then you stay more fit, and your body functions the way it should. Pond is the same way. If you feed too much waste, it's more waste than the pond can handle. The pond is going to respond in kind, and what's going to happen is you're going to start having major issues. Your fish are going to be sitting in waste ammonia, and that ammonia is going to break down the fish. Guys, for all intents and purposes, we've talked about this a couple of times. Your pond is kind of gross. It's a toilet bowl. Okay, your fish pee and they poop in the water, and that's ammonia. You have 2 beneficial bacteria. One's a nitrous ammonius and one's a nitrobacter. Now you have other beneficial bacteria that break down sludge and debris, but for this conversation, we're going to talk about the nitrification cycle and how it works. And how you should maintain your pond to make sure that you have what you need. All right. So we'll also talk about the amount of food that you should be feeding, because that's part of this conversation. So you have two beneficial bacteria. One's called a nitrosomonas and one's called a nitrobacter. These beneficial bacteria make up the nitrification cycle. The nitrosomonas eats the ammonia, which is the waste from the fish, very toxic. The nitrobacter, so let me take a step back. The nitrosomonas eats the ammonia and converts it to a nitrite, okay? Also very harmful. The nitrobacter, which is a secondary bacteria, eats the nitrite and converts it to a less harmless nitrate. And then you remove nitrates from the pond by having plants in the ponds, which will remove the nitrates and survive and thrive, as well as doing water changes. Both those things will help you to have a sustainable pond. If you don't do these things, if you don't do water changes, you don't have plants in your ponds, the opportunity to have ammonia spikes is going to be that much greater. If you overfeed your fish, and so nitrosomonas and nitrobacter bacteria live on any surface area in the ponds. That's why in a gravel bottom pond, or a pond with rocks and gravel in it, every piece of surface area is surface area for this nitrosomonas and nitrobacter to grow and thrive. So it's a good opportunity, for that bacteria to do very well in that type of environment. You can also create a very toxic environment if you don't keep that pond healthy, if you don't clean that pond on a routine basis annually. Any questions so far? Let me know if you guys have any thoughts, questions before I continue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Kristen S. From the Mid-Atlantic Koi Club saying good morning.
Hi, Kristen. Good morning. Any questions so far? Okay. So we were talking about nitrosomonas and nitrobacter and surface area. So nitrosomonas and nitrobacter will grow on any surface in the pond. They will thrive in a waterfall box or in an external filter system like a pressurized filter, a bead filter, or in a Baki shower. This is where this bacteria will thrive, where there's a tremendous amount of surface area, where you're going to provide oxygen to it as well. You can actually have this bacteria thrive even more. But you need this surface area for the beneficial bacteria to live and to thrive. Now, if you're seeing an ammonia spike, it could be a couple of things. One, you're feeding too much, and you're going to need to slow it down. You don't have enough surface area to. You got, all right. Let's say you have 10 nitrosomonas bacteria, okay, and you created way too much ammonia for those 10. So basically, they can't eat enough of that. So you have an excess of ammonia. So you're going to see that ammonia spike. What you need to do is you need to make sure that your colony of beneficial bacteria thrives. Okay, you need that bacteria to take off. And what will happen is if you feed more and you have the right environment and you have the surface area for that bacteria, then you can grow more bacteria that can handle that waste. If you don't, then you're going to have a problem. The easiest way to upgrade a filter system is to, and if you have like say a waterfall box or something like that, the easiest way to, can you grab me some paper towels?
Yeah, that's.
Let's grab that roll of paper towels. It's very, very hot in here. The easiest way to upgrade a filter system is to take additional filter pads and throw it in your waterfall box. All right, so you already have filter pads in there. If you thank you. If you add more filter pads, you're adding more surface area, which gives more placement opportunities for your beneficial bacteria to grow. Sorry, it's so hot. Okay. And it's air conditioned, and then we have a fan, but we need to put the we have a shade cloth we have to put on here. Yeah. It just gets so hot in here. So that would be the cheapest way for you to upgrade your filter system, is throw in additional filter pads. So I've had this conversation many times with customers. They have 1 or 2 filter pads in your waterfall box. Listen, Filter pads are a pain in the butt, but they work really well and they provide lots of surface area. Stack up your entire filter box. Put 5 pads in there. If you can fit 5 pads underwater in your water flow box, put them all in there. It's all surface area for beneficial bacteria to grow. So your nitrosammosis and nitrobacter bacteria will grow in there, and it can only help. Seriously, it can only help you.
Thomas says good morning.
Good morning, Thomas. Any questions so far? No questions so far. Okay. So we talked about excessive amounts of food. Your KH could also be very low. With the amount of, we've had a lot of rain here in the Northeast. And with that rain, the water becomes very acidic, okay? Your KH levels are going to drop. You need to keep those KH levels up, and you can also buffer your pH and stop those swings from happening at the same time by using a KH stabilizer. We actually have a product called Pure KH Stabilizer, which works really well. The amazing thing about a product like a KH stabilizer is it will raise and buffer your pH, okay, which buffer means keep it at level, and it'll raise your KH. You want to keep your KH, and if you don't have a KH tester, you can see this product. I think you could actually bring, you could probably bring it up. You may be able to do that. Bringing your KH up to about 125 plus. And you won't be able to do that unless you also have a KH test kit, which if you don't have a KH test kit, look one up. They're not expensive and they're really good to have. It's the most important parameter to test for. Why? Because if your KH is low, your pH will not be buffered. Your pH are going to drop. You may have what's called a pH crash. And your beneficial bacteria, your nitrosammosis and nitrobacter bacteria, as well as your sludge-eating bacteria, will perform very lethargically. I know we've had these conversations before, and if you guys have heard this before, like, you don't have to watch it again. I'm sorry, I apologize for repeating myself. But it's important to have these conversations in my mind, because I'm constantly having these conversations with customers. Every day I'm having these conversations with customers, talking to them about, all right, so let's try and figure out why you have an ammonia spike in the middle of summer at the peak of season. It's not really the middle of summer, it's actually the beginning of summer. But with the temperatures that we're seeing, your pond should be thriving right now. It should be doing really, really well. And if it's not, and you're seeing ammonia spikes or nitrite spikes, then you need to fix it fast. Okay, so adding in KH stabilizer, I don't know if you were able to get it up on screen, but adding this in will raise your pH. It'll raise it to a maximum of 8.4. Now, that can be a bad thing if you also have ammonia. But give it a day or two, and I'm going to tell you another product to put in just to stave off or nullify the effects of ammonia. We'll talk about that in a second.
I have a question for you as well.
Okay.
Questions? You want a question?
Sure.
From Angela, what's the difference
Hi,
between
Angela.
KH stabilizer and baking soda?
So very similar products. So this is just like a baking soda. It has some other things in it. We love this product. I believe it also has some beneficial bacteria in it, but that's what you need. Basically, a sodium bicarbonate, which will buffer your pH. Which means keep it at level, and it'll raise your KH. All right, super, super important. You want to be at about 125, and you can go all the way up to 300, and it's not going to be an issue. But what's going to happen is it's almost like a steroid for your beneficial bacteria. It'll actually make them work so much harder. And that ammonia spike you had, in a day or two, it will go away. And it's likely because your KH was so low, your beneficial bacteria weren't performing. Your pond needs to be rebalanced. And this is going to help do that. All right, and it's also going to help your sludge-eating bacteria. So if you're adding beneficial bacteria on a weekly basis, which you should be doing, that sludge-eating bacteria is also going to be behaving very lethargically if your KH is low, which means they're not going to be breaking down the amount of solids and nutrients that are in the pond. So super, super important. The most important parameter of all the parameters is that KH parameter, because if it's off, then it affects everything else. You guys clear on that? I just want to make sure you all understand that. All right, so we talked about ammonia spikes. Let's talk about nitrite. So nitrite is the secondary stage. You cannot see nitrite without first having ammonia and that ammonia being converted. Look at me like the person that I'm talking,
Science.
Anyway, there's only one time you ever want to see nitrite. Okay, now you should be zero nitrite, you should be zero ammonia. But the only time you want to see nitrite is just that identifier that the nitrification process is actually taking place, because you cannot get nitrite without having ammonia conversion first. Okay, so all right, I had the ammonia conversion first, now I see nitrite, so now what do I do? Well, one, water changes. See ammonia in the pond, you see nitrite in the pond, you should be doing a water change. 10, 15, 20% water change depending on what you're seeing. Super important. Have Chloromex on hand. Chloromex or Ultimate will actually detoxify ammonia, which is amazing. So it'll actually convert an NH3 ammonium into, which is the toxic ammonia, into an NH4. So an NH3 ammonia into an NH4 ammonium, which is the non-toxic kind of ammonia. So it's still edible as a food source for the Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter bacteria, but it's no longer toxic to the fish. And you'll actually use that product every 48 hours until your ammonia goes away. All right, so from an ammonia perspective, having either Chloromex or Ultimate on hand it has to be part of your arsenal. Super, super important. For nitrite, so what can happen if you have, what happens if you have nitrite in your pond? Is anything going to happen? Well, yes. Although rare, exposure to nitrite can enter the bloodstream and cause what's called brown blood disease, which will kill your fish. So what to do there is, if you do have nitrite, one is do a water change. Two is to have salt on hand. Now we sell pure salt, but you can get salt from other sources. You need to have 0.1% salt in the pond. At 0.1%, which is 1 pound of salt per 100 gallons of water, you will stop nitrite from entering the bloodstream. All right, so now I've just told you two great things. I've told you how to stave off ammonia from affecting your fish using Chloromex or Ultimate, okay? And I've also told you how to make nitrite not an issue during this process. You know, guys, when we're starting up our ponds, we're bringing lots of fish in, we're doing all these things ourselves. We're dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. We just know how to deal with those things and make them a non-issue. So important things to have on hand. Any questions? No questions at all.
Who doesn't?
Huh?
Who doesn't?
24 people on? Hi, everyone. Good morning. If you're new to the show, welcome. One of the things I wanted to mention really quickly, because you may not have been on when I mentioned it before, we have an awesome auction coming up on I was going to say December, on July 9th, which is Wednesday, July 9th, at 6:45 p.m. EST, so Eastern Standard Time. So we have an evening show at 6:45 right here. We have a Tosai Nisai auction event featuring Budogoromo from Marushan. So we have 10 Tosai from Marushan, Budogoromo, that we will be featuring. I'm very excited to show them to you, and I hope you guys are going to go home with some amazing fish. Pretty excited. The last auction we did was awesome. You guys got some amazing fish, and this one's going to be awesome as well. So can't wait to do it with you. Looking forward to it. It's coming up this week, and we're going to start promoting it, so you're going to start seeing it everywhere. We'll make sure that you guys see all the information you need to see on this event. So we're pretty excited about that. Any questions about that event?
Says good morning.
Good morning, Karen. What else? What else? What else? I was going to talk about feeding. All right. So a big part of all the potential problems is the amount of feeding that you're doing. So fish like koi they're almost like a dog. If you put an entire bag of dog food in front of some dogs, they will literally eat the entire bag of dog food. They will just continue to eat. Koi are the same way. I mean, they don't have stomachs, so the food will actually go in them. They'll absorb what they need, and it'll pass the rest through. And they will keep eating. They will eat food, go take a quick break, and then go eat some more. And I mean, quite honestly, what else do they have to do? Swim, poop, and eat. Wait, that's kind of what we have to do, basically, is walk around, poop, eat, and I guess procreate. That's what it is. So they don't have many other things to do but to swim and eat and poop. But just because they can doesn't mean you should. Okay, and this is what I was getting back to earlier in the program, is you need to feed your fish just enough food, that they can eat in a couple of minutes. If you put too much food in there, if you have food sitting around, it's either going to end up in the skimmer, it's going to drop down to the bottom, and it's going to cause water quality issues. This is going to be, and we get this all the time, how much should I feed my fish? Well, everyone's fish are different. You may have more fish, you may have less fish, you may have big fish, you may have small fish. Everyone has a different scenario, and this is going to be you experimenting with your fish. You're going to take a certain amount of food. I have this many fish, you're going to take X amount of food, you're going to put it in the pond. Did they eat all that fish right away and it's gone? Well, maybe you can give a little bit more. You need to give a little bit more until you see that there's food sitting on the surface of the pond. And once you reach that point, then all right, this is how much food I should be giving them. Or maybe I should cut back a tiny bit. That way all right, they're going to eat everything you put in there, and then you can feed them again another time during the day. Now, if you feed your fish once a day, and you feed the way I just described, then you're basically feeding to sustain. If you start feeding your fish twice a day or more, you're going to start seeing a lot more growth. Now, obviously, it depends on what type of food you're using too. That makes a huge, huge difference. We'll talk about that in a second. But before that, I want to make sure that we're clear on like the question about how much food to feed your fish. This is the time when they're going to be eating the most. All right, the water is warm. They're going to be eating very, very aggressively. As the water cools, they're going to eat less and less and less. You guys that have had your ponds for a little while, that have had your ponds for more than a season, know this, that as the winter comes, as the cooler water comes, your fish are going to eat less and less and less, and then eventually they're going to stop eating. They'll actually come up to the surface and go like, forget it. And then they'll go back down to the bottom and they won't eat. And then eventually they'll drop down to the bottom and they go into their torpor state, and then they don't eat again until it warms up. That's the cycle. But right now, with the very warm weather, they're going to eat large amounts of food. Now, you can feed them large amounts of food, but you have to be prepared for the consequences of feeding lots of food, which is creating more waste, potentially more waste than the filter can handle. Any questions about any of this at all? Now's the time to ask questions. So please, if you're new to the show, please don't be embarrassed. There's never a bad question. There's never a stupid question. All questions are great questions. So please ask away. That's what this show is for. No questions? No? Okay.
But somebody, Karen, says, I hope you had a good 4th of July.
Thank you, Karen. I had an amazing 4th of July with my family. It was very low key. We just hung out in the backyard and we did a barbecue and had some great steaks and lots of great conversation. I messed around a lot with ChatGPT. Have you guys messed around with ChatGPT at all? We've been using it for various things, writing emails and whatever. But this time, because I'm on TikTok, I started messing around. I see all these things come up like, I wanted to create art for my bathroom, so I used ChatGPT. I put a picture of my dog in wearing a bathrobe, having a towel on his head, and all this stuff, and I blew them up and put them in my bathtub, my bathroom. And I was like, you know what? I want to try that with my dog Remy. And then it went from my dog Remy to doing stuff with pictures of my father-in-law. And it was, it's just amazing, ChatGPT. So, it comes down to, and this is really all AIs, is it comes down to knowing how to ask the question, knowing how to ask for what you're looking for. And I quite honestly, I'm just learning. I spent a couple of hours on it, and I did this one. I did a couple with. I started with my dog Remy, and I did the first one I did was give me a photo real picture of my dog Remy, and I add a picture of my dog Remy as a professional chef in a kitchen. And so it then gave an amazing picture. It took my dog's face, and he's got an apron on, and the apron had little dog prints on it. I didn't ask for this. It just put dog prints on it. And it's got his name on a name tag, and I did make him a pizza chef, and it made him a pizza chef, and it put a pizza. He had a hat on, and it put flour on his nose. So he actually, I mean, I didn't tell it to do this. It just knew that would just make for a better photo if it did all of that. And it put the dog prints on the apron, and it had a little bit of flour spots on there, so it looked like he was just finished cooking. And then I was like, all right, what else can I do with this? And I did this amazing picture of Michael and Travis. So Travis, my son Travis, and Michael, who's here. And I said, make me a Japanese block print. So Japanese block print is like the famous Japanese art style. A Japanese block print of, and I think I actually said of the two enclosed photos in a samurai sword fight to the death with I think with lots of blood or something like that. And it made this amazing, like Japanese style. It had like Japanese lettering down the sides of the picture with my son Travis and Michael in a sword fight together with, you can see blood on the swords. And it looked like it was something that was made in like the 17th century. It's something that I need to blow it up. And I think we need to blow it up and hang it on the wall. And it's just, I mean, there were definitely some inconsistencies. Like he was holding the sword here, but then there was like an extra hand on a sword over there, and so it got a couple of things wrong. But how amazing is this? And then I started like you could ask such a unbelievable like questions about business and health. You know, I said, you know what, like, all right, like I'm having trouble staying on my diet. These are my issues. And it talked to me like I was talking to a real person. It's just, and then I came in today and I was showing the guys. I did this one other one. My father-in-law, Bob, was sitting at the table eating. And I said, make me a Renaissance artwork with the enclosed photo of my father, of Bob, I said, sitting in a king's chair eating a feast. And it showed this amazing Renaissance style. It created this Renaissance piece of art with him sitting in a king's chair with a feast of food, with him eating a piece of food. And there's a giant roasted chicken on the table, just like you would see at like a Renaissance fair. And you know what? All I can say about this is everyone's scared of AI, and listen, for good reason. I mean, there will definitely be a lot of people losing their jobs over AI. But what I would say about AI is that learn how to embrace it. If you're an artist or someone that you're concerned about losing work because of it, well, learn how to embrace it and build that into your repertoire of how to use it. Learning how to use AI the right way is all the difference between someone who's just messing around with it like me and someone who actually can turn it into a business.
Angela writes, has seen amazing home and garden designs from ChatGPT, using photos of people's real homes.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. I mean, I could go, and you just gave me a great idea of actually just taking a picture of someone's backyard, and just saying, all right, take the enclosed picture of this backyard and add a 3-tiered waterfall on the right and a multi-tiered stream coming down into the pond over on the left. And if I ask for it to do that, it'll actually go and do that. And it's really unbelievable how it works. If you guys haven't messed with it, go to the App Store, download ChatGPT. If you don't actually pay for it, it'll only give you a couple of tries before it says, all right, that's enough for the day. Me being the moron that I am, I actually paid for it, so that I could keep doing it. But pretty impressive. Yes.
From Karen, isn't it true that if your pond temperature is 85 degrees, feed sparingly, and if it's over 90, don't feed at all? The pond temperature.
We generally don't see temps in the 90s for the water. I know that you live in Arizona and some of the other states you will see temps like that. I don't actually have an answer for you when it comes to the higher temps and why not to feed. I would actually have to look into that. So before I could answer and give you I'd want to know exactly the positives and negatives of that, Karen. So I would have to get back to you. So good question, but I just can't answer it.
Yeah, for us to get to 90, you know how hot it would have to be here regularly?
I mean, it has been really hot.
Yes.
And the only way for me to check the temperature right now would actually be for me to look on my phone and actually check the temperatures in all the houses. But we generally stay in the 70s in all of our tanks. And when we do our heat ramping and when we get fish in from Japan, we heat ramp into the 70s.
Karen says she reached that temperature last week and she had to add fresh water sparingly.
Okay. And we had some crazy weather, so that could definitely be the case. It won't stay that way. As far as the health of the fish, I mean, in the 90s, I know that the health of the fish is at risk. It can definitely become a problem. That being said, I think if the fish are doing it gradually and slowly, and/or they're living in an environment like Arizona, where there's plenty of koi pond hobbyists in Arizona that do just fine. I actually know of a koi dealer and I believe breeder in Arizona, so they have figured out how to make it work. Any other questions?
What can I say? My pond water. Let's see if I can see this. My pond water is now back to 80 degrees. She's in direct sunlight with one of her ponds. That's why I have a deck over a quarter of the pond.
Okay. So having shade definitely helps, guys. It's important to if your pond is in full sun, you should be adding some plants. Add water lilies, add hyacinth, add anything that can give the pond some shade. It's going to help the fish quite a bit. It's also going to help them from predators. So it's kind of a double duty thing here. It's actually a triple duty. So it'll provide some shade for the fish. It'll hide them from predators, and it's also going to help filtrate the ponds. So basically a triple threat, having aquatic plants in there. They can battle on a lot of fronts. So I would definitely say one of your best friends is adding aquatic plants to the ponds. It can help in so many ways. Besides that, I think that's kind of it for today. I just want to remind you guys again, we have our live auction coming up on July 9th at 6:45 p.m. and that's going to be on, it's going to be on the Shawn Koi Market Rosen Facebook page, the Koi Market Aquatic Nursery Facebook page, as well as our YouTube page. So be there or be square. Enjoy the rest of the weekend with your families, guys. Have fun with your ponds. Koi Market is open all weekend. If you guys need anything, we're happy to help any way we can. You can always reach me. You can text me 516-547-0164.
You got a last minute question?
Yes, last minute question.
From Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, talk about Koi Defender and water temps. Is there is there more or less need for it?
There is definitely a need for it. So Michael is asking about Koi Defender. Koi Defender is an amazing product. I know we didn't talk about Koi Farm products today, but sorry, I gotta take a drink. Koi Defender is a prophylactic for pathogenic bacteria. Now, every pond has pathogenic bacteria in it. It's your fish's immune system that really helps to keep it at bay. Koi Defender, what it does is it basically starves out the pathogenic bacteria and just replaces that with good bacteria and makes it less likely for your fish to have an issue with fin rot, tail rot, mouth rots, ulcerations. Great product to have. I mean, it's not a medication. Okay, it's not a medication at all. It is a bacteria for pathogenic bacteria. It's not a sludge-eating bacteria like a product like microblip. This is a completely different product. This is specifically designed for pathogenic bacteria. You add it in on a weekly basis. Thank you for mentioning this, Mike. And it can definitely 100% help have a healthier pond. So it is something you should be adding to your pond on a weekly basis. Any other questions? Nope. Guys.
Oh, Greg Woodstock.
Hey, Greg.
Gives you a clapping hello.
What's up, buddy? Everyone say hi to Greg Woodstock. Greg, good to have you on. I hope you guys are having an amazing 4th of July. Greg stopped by the shop. It's probably about a week ago.
Yeah,
it's about a week ago. We were very grateful that he was here. Gave an amazing tour of our place. So it was awesome. I tell you, Greg, I was watching the video that you had posted. It was amazing. I think it has like 54,000 views. Unbelievable. And then the one that Brian had posted had, I think, 140,000 views, which amazing. That was the one that he did way before, so it's been out for quite a while longer. But thank you for stopping by. I hope you're having an amazing 4th of July with your family, 4th of July weekend. And guys, spend time with your families. Enjoy. If you're going to the beach, make sure you wear some sunscreen. And more questions.
Oh yeah, from Rachel wants to know, is there a way you can put the Koi Defender in an auto doser?
Yes, you definitely can. So take any auto doser that's available. You can use any of the ones that's available from Aquascape. We use the XT auto doser, and you can definitely use this. You can take a bottle that's existing that you have, just empty that bottle. This bottle will fit into the XT, not a problem. You're just going to take the cover for the dosing machine that sucks the liquid up, put it right onto the top of that. Or you can use one of the existing bottles that's there, refill it with Koi Defender, just mark it as Koi Defender on the bottle. The nice thing about the XT is the XT dosing machine is you can have multiple products in at one time. You just have to get an extra dosing mechanism so that it runs 2 at the same time. But you can definitely use this product in the dosing machine. Aquascape made a great product, and if you don't have a dosing machine for your ponds, it's definitely something you should have. Guys, we forget to put product in our pond all the time. Microsoft. Aquascape makes an awesome line of products. Beneficial Bacteria is a great maintenance product, a great clear product. If you have a fountain, they have a water treatment for fountains. And the nice thing about it is it works with an app that lets you know if it's getting low and when to order some more. So a great product to have, and it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork and the manual labor of having to do this yourself. You just put it in the dosing machine and you're all done.
And then she asked, good to know that you can use it with the dosing machine. At what setting?
That I would have to check for you. Yeah, that I would have to check. I know that Michael messed around with it and we had one running here. So I would have to let you know what setting. If you want to text me, 516-547-0164 about the settings for the dosing machine, I will follow up with you. Okay? Again, guys, don't forget about the auction coming up. It's coming up. You have another question?
No, Greg just said it might chill in a non-Aquascape water treatments. And then a smiley face.
Yes, it is a great product. So, Greg, thank you for bringing it to market. It is an excellent product. We have our auction coming up. Don't forget, we have our auction coming up on Wednesday, July 9th, 6:45 p.m. EST on our Facebook pages, our Koi Market Aquatic Nursery page, Shawn Koi Market Rosen page. If you're not friends, you just friend me, as well as our YouTube page. So we'll see you there. We look forward to it. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.